speaking of, we're into the draft. Who flashed that fight? Now on the red side, once again, Baka is in, Jimmy out. Xin Zhao first ban from Lotus.
What I do want to see from Lotus here is a more emphasis on the bot lane matchups. So you have such a strong bot lane. Just give them the tools to just 2v2 and carry the game. Sure, Waffle did end up becoming super strong, but just let him do that earlier.
Yeah, and hopefully they make that kind of extension, and maybe they draft a jungler to help actually do that. I think the Diana pickup in the fights looked very good, but early on didn't really have the impact they needed to take control of the game early, and it really was who flashed that fight. I hesitate to say throwing, but letting their lead slip from their fingers.
It was definitely
Xin Zhao, Aurelia, Ziggs banned away by Lotus. First pick Diana once again. So they think they're going to be able to do this one again unpunished. TK, Aphelios, and Thresh are banned away by who flashed that fight.
Yeah, I don't think the early game should go as bad for the Diana this game. I feel like they're going to just ward up the jungle entrances a little bit better, or just have a little bit of late vision. Because, I mean, all that Diana lead, or Trundle lead, basically stemmed from the not having vision around the blue buff, and Trundle just getting all her bot side camps for free. And, if Diana just runs into him, what can she do? It's a level 2 Diana versus that level 3 Trundle, and he just kind of owns her in that 1v1.
Leona being picked up by who flashed that fight, so another blind pick, Leona. I mean, she's a very safe blind pick right now. She is very good for that engage. We'll see if Lotus decides to play the same lane into this Leona again. I doubt they're going to pick the Xayah again. Kindred being hovered in. In fact, it is locked in, so Kindred going to be picked up for Baka. This is not the early aggression that the Trundle pick will do. It definitely is more of a farming pick in the early stages of the game, but does outscale the Diana into that late game.
The thing is, the Kindred could actually kind of invade the Diana in the same rate that the Trundle can, because the Kindred's just so much stronger early than Diana, plus being ranged and all the percent HP damage that she does. She actually has really strong dueling early, but I don't know, just picking it this early and you don't see that much of Lotus's comp with just the Diana, I don't like it that much, but it's not that bad. Plus the Leona pick is just good. I mean, you gotta try and lock down Waffle somehow, right?
Indeed, Set being picked up could be mid-top or bot, most likely in one of those solo lanes, though. Could be in the hands of Accelerate, which, I mean, he won his top lane matchup last game, put him on a stronger top laner, see what he can do. Jinx getting picked up, though, in this bottom lane. This is not the safe pick of the Ezreal we were hoping for, but it is a different pick, and definitely a hyper carry in the hands of Waffle Wheel.
This is just saying you guys don't do enough bot lane. I'm just gonna scale up, gonna be better than you in team fights, and I'm just gonna roll you over. 1 kill is all I need, and then I'm just gonna steamroll the team fight.
Wukong being picked up in the top lane. This is an old counter pick in a set.
Oh, is it? I don't know much about top lane matchups, but I do like the set pick into Kindred though, because if she drops the R, you can just kind of ult her out of it and kill her anyways. But I'd be interested to see how these team fights play out, because there's a lot that Set can do. Like, he can be super disruptive, whether it's diving on the back line or healing for your own back line, just being a general nuisance.
Cassio, though, being banned away, so respect's going over towards JVL in the mid lane. Obviously had a very good game on that Cassiopeia, despite getting solo killed by despite the Ezreal play coming out very well and getting a couple solo kills there in that mid lane, and actually letting who flashed the fight actually get in the game number 1. He did, of course, get a solo kill on the Echo as well. So, of course, good respect coming out there. LeBlanc being banned away, and the Taric being banned away from the spot lane. So, Lotus saying, yeah, this set is definitely going in the hands of Accelerate, and Lotus, one more ban to go.
Taric is a really great banner against when you're trying to pick like Leona, Wukong, just a bunch of dive. He's one of the best anti-dive champions in the game. With his ult, with his Guardian, and his healing AoE stun. I mean, no one really does it better than him, so it makes a lot of sense. The Ashe ban, that's kind of weird. I feel like if they picked Ashe,
Are they making the same draft mistake they made game number 1? They just put Stingus on Callista.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I mean, if they get ahead bot lane, they should be able to snowball this harder than game 1. But there's always the issue of getting ahead bot lane. Because the Kalista with the Leona, once they hit level 6, I feel like that's a bit deadlier than the Tristana Leona, because you can just ult her in, and she just gets so much free CC off of that.
Maokai getting picked up says this is set either mid or support. It could be set Jinx, which actually set in the Leona, I think like set actually does decently well into that matchup because he can counter engage with the face breaker. So that could throw a wrench in the Who Flash that fight plans. With this Maokai being picked up once again for Accelerate in the top lane. I mean, at least Who Flash that fight picked a strong side top laner, and there's Veigar actually. This is an older counter pick into the Wukong, also decently good against Kindred and Kalista.
Yeah, so basically they saw the Leona, Wukong, Kalista, and Lotus goes, we're picking as much disengage as we possibly can. Maokai, Veigar, I mean, you just can't really walk up into them with the Maokai ult, Veigar cage. But it just sucks because if that Maokai does end up going bot lane, Leona's like a known Maokai counter. That's like 2 games in a row where you're picking like a deficit in your bot lane when that's like your win condition.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they decide to do Maokai bot or set bot. I personally would rather have the set down there. Because I think Maokai into Wukong is, you know, Wukong's still going to win the lane, but it's not terrible. And then you add an actual win condition into your bottom lane where, as like, I mean, as you mentioned, Leona counters Maokai the same way she counters Rakan. So we'll see where that goes. Katarina, though, getting picked into the Veigar. This is a very strong counter into the Veigar pick. Not something we see a lot of, though. I mean, neither of these champions really up in these higher levels of play.
Yeah, that's a really interesting pick. Because, I mean, they have Maokai Q, Set E, and ult, and Diana E, or Diana ult, all that to stop the Katarina. But, you know, with Katarina players, it's all about timing. If you can go in and find that timing in team fights where none of the CC is up, you can always just wreak so much havoc.
And we'll see where that Maokai goes. I mean, as the chat is saying right now, it's Cat into Maokai, Set, and Diana. Like, in team fights, she has the chance of just not being a threat at all, but it is a good lane matchup into the Veigar. It's one of the few assassins that does not have a dash, but instead has a blink ability, which means that you're not going to have issues with the cage like Echo would or like LeBlanc would in that type of matchup. We'll see once again where this Maokai and where the set go. I'm hoping it's Accelerate Maokai in the top lane, just so they can get that set matchup in the Leona.
I would think that in team fights, the Maokai would try to prioritize the Kalista because it's a point and click route as opposed to all the other abilities, which are skill shots, and just guaranteeing the lockdown on her is pretty good because if you use all of your CC on the Katarina, and Kalista just gets to free fire, and it's really hard to pin her down and lock her down.
Yeah, and Cat has never been played in heavy, by the way, and this is Accelerate Maokai, so this is what we were kind of expecting. Veigar has been played in heavy 2 times, so very rare picks to see. And once again, Katarina and Veigar, Katarina should win that lane and try to snowball. That is Who Flash's win condition this game, is get this Katarina ahead, because if not, like, yes, you can get the Kalista ahead, but it's Stingus. Like, I don't want to harp on Stingus as a player, but he's not a strong side bot laner. You just need to pick him something that's going to farm up. And in doing so, it could punish the Jinx pickup, but I'm not sure about that. So, win condition for Who Flash that fight early on, get this Katarina ahead. For Lotus, they don't have any winning lanes, typically. And Diana is a farming jungler. So, a little bit of a TSM draft for them. How do they win this game?
If Who Flash that fight can't punish enough, like kind of like last game. Actually, you know, last game they did punish them enough early. They got the first 3 dragons. It was just a little bit of mishaps. If they just clean up that game, they win that. So I think if they just have the same early game plan, just don't let them scale up because you're not gonna outscale Veigar Jinx. There's just no way. Because the cage becomes such a nuisance in the later team fights. He just presses R and one-shots one of your carries. Like, but if you have that same early aggression, you get all those early dragons, you win the game before 30 minutes, then I think they can take this game.
That's your prediction for this game. I mean, but what's Lotus's win condition here? Obviously, it's scale up in the late game, but how do you see them doing this? How do you see Lotus I assume come back from what you're predicting is a deficit in the early game.
They just need to look for picks with just get vision with Maokai saplings because they can't really walk up. Look for good Vagar cages, Maokai roots. They have so many things to pick off one person. That, you know, if Doctor kind of does the same thing that he did last game and just kind of overextends even just a little bit, he's gonna get picked. And the 4v5 for Lotus, I mean, Jinx just running around with her passive, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, game number 2 with DJ Necrox and Random Minion Caster.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rift. It is time for Game 2 in Your Excellency Heavyweight Grand Finals between Lotus and Who Flashed That Fight. Game 1 going the way of the guys in pink, and Stingus and crew coming up short, but just barely, I'd have to argue, after a phenomenal mid-game. They make one error, and Lotus punish and take Game 1. Now I'm into Game 2, hoping we get another incredible game.
One error might be a little generous, Necrox. There were a couple.
Extended blunder, maybe?
Something like that, yeah. Regardless, I think the point does stand. There was a lot of good play from Who Flashed That Fight in Game 1, right? They found good angles. They overturned a gold deficit and created a lot of pressure. They were on soul point for a massive portion of that game, but like you said, it just didn't come together. They didn't quite have enough. They made a couple critical mistakes, and Lotus punished them with the scaling composition. They once again definitely have the scaling composition, the easier to execute composition. So Who Flashed That Fight? They're going to need to execute better than they did in Game 1 if they want to come out and even this series.
That said, DJ, I do think Who Flashed That Fight have learned somewhat from their mistakes here. There's a lot of easy engage tools on their side here, and the more easy AoE engage tools you have, the more forgiving your composition is, which will help somewhat here. They just need to actually make use of it. And I'm specifically looking at Dusk to Dawn in this top lane here. Last game on that Gangplank, really did struggle to get any sort of purchase in lane and wasn't that helpful in team fights. Now with the Wukong here, I mean, into the Maokai, it's going to be a little bit rough, but I think Dusk to Dawn should be able to handle it. He better be able to handle it after the talk he put down in the interviews. And I want to see him be that primary engage for the team there. If he can find the backline, you can burst down JVL and Waffle Wheel pretty much at any state of the game here.
Now, well done from Donut Maker taking the trades, and this is honestly probably the most interesting pick of the draft for me. It's the Katarina on Donut Maker. He has the TP, he has the Ignite, even going for the Dark Seal nice and early on. First item for him. Stingus has a longsword as well, plus cleanse for both AD carry. Just want to take index of what we got going on so we can get a full idea of how things head in this game. Waffle, though, is going to get traded on pretty heavily by Stingus as he hops forward, rips out the spears, and takes a chunk out of Waffle's health bar.
Yeah, and if we look at how this bot lane's going, if you can kind of trade even like we just saw Waffle do, it's not the worst situation here. Kalista is very strong early here. So as long as you're trading even, you're fairly okay. I'm more worried a little bit about what happens when the junglers start to get involved here, because neither Kindred nor Diana are exactly early game junglers. They're not huge on on their ability to make plays on their own here. So it does rely a lot on your lanes. And with a set with a Leona, with there being so much CC in the bot lane, I can't help but think that that's where we're going to see the first ganks come through.
I mean, you definitely want to play around your bottom lane when you draft something like a Kalista. There's so much playmaking potential. As I say that, there is a jungler here, gentlemen.
Yeah, Yoshi wants in. Stingus flashes right towards him, and it's another play going to be delivered right to the Lotus line, and they're going to grab themselves first blood onto Yoshi, who will eventually fall. The teleport came in a little bit too late from Donut Maker to get any piece of the kill, but regardless, it is traded right back.
Yeah, and you know what? Like the teleport came down because you had to try and make something happen. That's the Katarina. Even the option to get it, the chance to get the assist is worth you roaming down because you are the assassin. You want to make things happen.
Yeah, you definitely need to make that play. Again, this is a composition that wants to make plays in the early game. Unfortunately, they don't quite get the first blood. I will say, if Kindred got a mark off that, you could potentially call that a little worth, right? Yes, you have your Kalista go down, but should be able to get back to lane without losing too much as they shove this in. And your Kindred is a member that you want to accelerate. If you can get to 4 marks early, you can really start popping people with Baka coming back into the fold. So I think all in all, not the worst thing for who flashed that fight, but a nice early effort there from Lotus.
I just want to point out, Yoshi stole away the scuttle from Baka there, and that was the marked scuttle. That really sucks for Baka because he had priority, and it just 1Q just sniped it.
Yeah, that's real sad stuff. He did at least get the bottom crab, so there's something there for him. As JVL once again takes the punishment here from Donut Maker. Does step into the W there as JVL will grab a little bit of extra damage with the electrocute. Still has his teleport. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Donut thinking about setting up a freeze, realizes, I don't really want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and push out this wave as he earns himself priority once again. Still waiting on where we're headed for both of these as first bases come through. Stingus double longsword, Waffle Wheel full boots in for this marksman.
Okay, a lot of attention being paid to this mid lane here from Lotus, but it's a Katarina, and one of the things about Katarina, let's make this very clear. The Katarina pick is not going to work well in the team fights. I think that got addressed a little bit in draft. There's just so much hard CC here. You pick that Katarina to win out against the Veigar here. So if you're not able to win out, if you're not able to draw a ton of pressure here, this Katarina is going to have issues. Now, they're about to hit 6 in the solos, and maybe in the jungles a little bit longer here. But when we start seeing these ultimates come through, that's really when I start to expect to see a lot of action happen. So, gents, another minute, 2 minutes, and we should start seeing more kills.
Certainly should. And right now, unfortunately, not a whole lot. At the moment, we're still waiting for those ultis to come through. We don't really see any objectives either, right? It's just a Cloud Drake that is nice for early laning. Okay, right as I say that, I get jigs.
Okay, he's seeing it blade into Kiwi, and I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this one. Waffle flashing forward, trying to find the kill, but now he's a little bit too far extended. Baka keeping himself alive, but Yoshi jumps in and grabs one. The reset's there, and it's a double killing over the Yoshi as he takes 6, uses the Moonfall, won't be able to find the kill. As Lotus make a nice play on bot side. Top side, meanwhile, Accelerate and Dust to Dawn going at it. Heel Cut's already in for Accelerate mains. It's really hard for Dust to sustain through that one, but Waffle Wheel's been spotted and he's been taken out.
Just why was he so far up? Like, I don't understand how he got cut off behind, but he was like hiding in a bush trying to pretend that, they don't see me.
What? Dusk? Okay, some monkey trickery, I guess. Flash away from the Maokai as the tree will not be able to spread his seed and looking for that solo kill, but not able to find it.
Yeah, and we'll have to see a replay to see why Waffle was still so overextended. There was a TP canceled in the top lane from Dust to Dawn. Okay, we don't get any time. Ulti's out!
Oh no my gosh, the damage from the Death Lotus from Donut Maker as Kiwi is number 2 in the menu. It's buy one, get one free, and it's who flashed that fight, picking up both.
And that's what you want. That's the execution, right? It's hard. It's not easy. There's a lot of CC, but when it goes right, that is what happens for who flashed that fight. And that is poetry in motion. The circular ultis line right up. They pop one member, they get the kills, and they get the Drake as they slide out clean.
Hey man, DJ, I don't know if I'd say that was exactly hard execution for Donut Maker. He just face rolls across the keyboard and gets the kill. I will say, though, a lot is relying on this Kindred. And there were some questions about the Kindred in the draft here about how it's going to fit. Well, this is how it fits. You go in, you do whatever risky play you want. Baka comes in and saves your bacon. That's how this comp is going to work. And I really want to see the combination specifically with Stingus here, with Callista stacking those spears. And the moment Lamb's Respite goes down, you rend and people start dying.
It is very difficult. Now, bottom side, Sting is having to use this cleanse immediately. It's a nice engage from Kiwi to earn that summoner, but the Rocket will find the mark from Waffle Wheel as he snipes away Stingus for his first kill.
Nice predict from Waffle on that Rocket, thinking that Stingus is going to hop in that direction. He snipes him out, takes a little revenge maybe for that double kill in game number 1. Now he's even going to force Dokdo off to stop him from holding the wave. Beautiful stuff for Lotus as they strike back. Still a little bit behind on gold, but not too much to be worried about.
And they're just going back and forth here. It doesn't feel like anybody's got a huge advantage, JBL. Okay, so here's the problem with the Veigar. You do have a stun, but it does take a little bit of time. And frankly, that little bit of time, what is that, 1.5 seconds or 0.5 seconds? It's just too long. You can see the damage coming out. And the cooldown for the Death Lotus is not that long. It's roughly about 80 seconds at this point at rank 1. So Donut Maker can just keep going in, punishing this Veigar in lane. And Veigar doesn't really get to do anything against this Katarina. So maybe 20-25 minutes here. You need backup. You need help. And I think step 1, get the vision so that your lanes, either your support or your jungler, can get in there to help you without being spotted.
And they tried bringing up the support. They tried bringing up Kiwism, but Donut Maker just Shunpo's away. There's no easy way to lock down this Katarina unless she's the one engaging on you. Is pretty difficult there, but regardless, easy stuff from Donut Maker, taking a very aggressive trade as Baka still clearing away his jungle. Nicely done. Honestly, this is a higher tempo game we have in than last one. We waited quite a while for the action to kick off, but I'm just still waiting for that flashpoint to see which team comes out on top.
I mean, it could be coming in 2.5 minutes, Necrox, but we better have high tempo if you're who flashed that fight. This is what you want. This is the skirmish. This is the comp you've drafted. You are not waiting around. Okay, Kiwi. He has shield. He should be fine.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. Baka loses a lot of health, but so does Kiwi, and now Waffles under his turret. This could be a little bit awkward. Yoshi's waiting around. Should not go for a dive. That Sweeper's going to spot out Yoshi, but now they may be on the hunt for the jungle plus the AD carry, as Yoshi's the first one to take a little bit of damage. Solar Flare going to be used, but now the teleport from Accelerate is here to protect the Lotus bot lane, maybe looking for some sort of re-engage angle. The Wolf will be thrown out from Baka, which means they cannot go any further. Who flashed that fight? Pursue, but they do not get a kill.
As much as I agree with you there, DJ, I wasn't expecting to see the fights break out right now. The teams evidently disagree. They tried to make something happen here, and really for Who Flashed That Fight, I think the attempt there was solid. They don't lose too much trying here, but what they're really waiting for is their breakpoints, those first set of mythics to start coming through, and then I think that's when we're going to see our flashpoint. Baka going for round 2 on the scuttle, does secure it this time, and just a quick check, currently sitting on 3 marks, so just 1 more before you get that range extension.
Yeah, 11 minutes, not bad at all for 3 marks. So very much on pace is Baka as Who Flashed That Fight continue to try to apply this pressure. You saw them, they wanted that dive really, really badly in that bottom lane. It's something you can do with Kalista when you have the ulti available, right? You just have your support go in, draw them back out. It's pretty easy to execute. But the TP comes in to cancel it. It's nicely done to cover by Accelerate, but it's just a TP that they get for it. And that's the pressure you can apply with this bottom lane. Looking for that next breakpoint again, where we're not going to get it with nothing up. Although Yoshi, he's in lane. He's got the Rift Herald as well. Dusk, nice instincts. He gets out really early.
Yeah, uses that Cyclone just to disengage as well, making sure Yoshi cannot follow through. Whether they want to pop the Rift Herald down here or not, looks like no. They're going to hold on that one for a little bit longer, maybe using it to set up for this dragon. But there is no flash on Waffle Wheel due to that Fate's Call usage by Stingus and Dokdo.
Yeah, and it's slightly questionable ult usage there. The fact that Cyclone is gone as well from Dusk to Dawn and that Fate's Call means that they can't really contest for this next dragon here. Lotus, on the other hand, have everything available here. And if they don't hit their mythic power points, they're still not in a bad spot. They just have so many different tools available to instantly burst out a target. And it just comes down to the Lamb's Respite, right? For Baka. If it gets used right, Lotus loses the fight. If it gets used wrong, that's pretty much a guaranteed win on the team fight.
Whoa.
Okay, there we go. Stunned up into the cage. The one shot is going to find Donut Maker. The auto follows, but he's at 1 HP. He's going to live and Accelerate. Flash it under the tower to secure the kill, but he's going to trade his life back for Baka, who cleans it up, and it's Yoshi to go down to double kill. Lotus have gone too far. Kiwi here to disengage. He puts his life on the line for the squad. Can he get out as well? I think he can. The Haymaker's going to find the mark as he disengages, but Lotus were too eager, and Stingus and crew clean it up.
You had everything, Lotus! Why? You literally blew everything trying to kill Donut Maker, and I understand the attempt, but too deep. You push her off, you go for Dragon, good enough there. You threw everything, and it just doesn't work. It bites them back, and suddenly, Who Flashed That Fight, they get that small lead that they needed.
It's the unintentional bait. It's too hypey. It's the finals, right? They want the blood. They want the kill. We can even see it here on the replay. I mean, let's be very honest about how this starts. Donut Maker gets way too aggressive here. He sees JVL, but look at how close Accelerate is. It's the easiest W of his entire life. He is dead to rights, but like you said, RMC, there's just no need. There's no need to flash under the turret. Look at how far up in the lanes they are, and then the cleanup is just so simple for who flashed that fight.
And I do want to point out as well that the Vygar cage, the Event Horizon, came down and did catch Donut Maker. If that doesn't happen, that fight goes very differently. But that allowed them to get all the burst down. And I understand the bloodlust, right? Katarina's so low. You want to finish her. But that's really not the right call whatsoever. There's no ignite on the side here of Lotus. And that really hurts. Normally you see your support carry it. You can pick up the kill that way. Didn't happen.
Not to mention, they had disrespected the fact that, okay, we don't want to get any guy. Kiwi's actually ulting out. This could be that dive angle.
Solar Flare, the traps in the turret. Dokdo is going to take a lot of damage, but Kiwi definitely will die. Stingus grabbing that kill. Accelerate top side. Trying against Dust to Dawn. There's a Cyclone. Heel cut already picked up for Accelerate. Again, makes it really hard for Dust to win these trades. Ulti forced, but top side is not where we care. It is all about this bot lane where Stingus grabs that kill. Still Dusk, man. He wants my attention on this top lane. Accelerate, forcing my eyeballs up here, but I don't think Dusk should die. The dive maybe a little bit too greedy here.
Yoshi's coming. He just hopped the wall. I think he's dead.
They've got Donut Maker on the route. They've got Donut en route to the play. Can they find him? Gonna be denied by the clone. Donut's now in a bad spot. He needs to run away back to the safety of his team. Gets a hop away from Dust to Dawn. Bot side, though, is the only kill to go down.
Okay, so nicely done actually by Donut Maker. Normally you'd see your jungler do that. Your mid laner actually is the one saving Dust to Dawn's life in that situation as he roams up. The rest of the team even comes up from bottom lane to cover the lane for Donut Maker. So actually very nicely done by who flashed that fight across the map. They don't really lose out on anything because bot lane had push. That said, it is still a risky play in the top, so you can see it's not going very well for Dust to Dawn, and the lack of tempo after these resets will allow this Rift Herald to head over to Yoshi.
Yeah, so for Lotus here, they're okay with it. And you could tell right off the bat that they were okay with it when they didn't go for the dive. If you are the faster tempo team, you need to make that move. You dive no matter what there to get the kill. But for Lotus, if they don't get it, it's fine. They're still skilling. Vygar's still farming. Waffle's still coming up here. They don't really have to push it too much. And for Dust to Dawn, you're just happy and lucky that you got out alive. Dusk has managed to find a CS lead despite how rough the lane is. But he needs to be able to leverage that into something else here.
Stun onto Yoshi, who's trying to clear out vision, but should not be any issue. Dusk doing the same. And honestly, while we're on that tab of vision score, I do want to point out that there's a lot of control for who flashed that fight. Look at all these red wards in the bottom side jungle. Even one control ward peeking its way into that top side. And Lotus don't have the same vision. They got one in the bottom side pixel, but that's just about all they have to their name.
Yeah, vision control, very solid. It is something you want to establish if you want to make these deep plays, those dives that we've seen on the bottom side. And Baka allows him to invade and be aggressive, trying to pick up some more marks. I don't know if he has his fourth yet. We haven't engaged in mid lane. The Fate's Call still available, so I think that's why they're just going to call that one off. No way you can really keep Dokdo away from Stingus for long enough.
I thought they were going to dive there with the Lambsdar Spit. 5 marks, and Baka wins it against Accelerate. Accelerate getting a bunch of damage.
Well, yeah, okay, there's a lot of damage. Root's not going to find this mark. Excellent from Baka to avoid there with a Gale Force. Teleport going to find its way in. There's the dunk back to the tower. Dokdo has to flash away. There's a beautiful Fate's Call from Stingus to pull back the support. Accelerate at about half HP. Dokdo even lower at 25%. The rocket's not available. There's a lens rested over the top of the moonfall. Now Dust to Dawn in the back line with a clone. First kill going to find its way out of Yoshi. As Donut Maker picking up the kill. Stingus is going to grab number 2 on of Accelerate. Who flashed that fight? Excellently managed their resources. Find 2 free kills, and now they're going to push down mid lane. Stun lands on the Stingus. Has to cleanse away out of the Event Horizon. Baka, Stingus, Dokdo, and Donut all trying to siege this mid-tier 1, but they will not be able to knock it down.
Okay, Dokdo, I admit it. You're smarter than me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you. He had it under control, guys. I swear. He goes in. It looks terrible. Hold on. Oh, the damage!
Waffle is dead in a heartbeat, and Katarina's spinning in a death circle. It is Lotus that die and get wiped away for the second time. Marvelous from who flashed that fight mid.
That's not Death Lotus. That's the death of Lotus right now. Donut Maker, you're dead here. But she got the turret first before he goes down. The team's screaming, it's criminal. Who flashed the fight? Just keep finding advantage after advantage. And they're just looking so good right now. I do believe we have a replay set up of that mid lane engage. And I want to draw our attention here to Baka, to this Kindred. Actually, this is the second half of it. This is after the initial fight. And Donut Maker just hops over, instantly executes. And you can see JVL was just a casualty right there. The moment Donut Maker went out, you were zoned. You were kind of done, and you're dead. But the fight before that, I wanted to highlight that it's up to Baka right now. This Lamb's Respite is doing so much work. I still think that Docto messed up the Fate's Call, but you got saved by the Lamb's Respite.
I don't know, man. I think they're on comms. Like they're saying we have Respite, right? We can bait them in. I'm going to believe it until we hear it in an interview, RMC. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to believe that Docto's got the calculations, man. I will stand by that one until I am proven definitively wrong. Nevertheless, like you said, who flashed that fight is just finding creative ways to get leads, right? This composition, regardless of the mechanics of the champions, is hard to time, right? It's hard to execute on your timers, on your skirmish. It requires you to play at an aggressive pace, a high level. And who flashed that fight are doing it. They are looking at like they did in game one at moments, but they're doing it consistently now, and they are building themselves a lead out of a tough draft, out of a tough composition. It's beautiful stuff to watch.
And I'm glad you bring that point up, DJ, because Lotus have defaulted to the exact same thing that they've done all split long. It is 3 losing lanes. We were talking to Finnick before the show. He called it a TSM draft. I'm calling it a TL draft. Regardless, it's a draft with 0 priority. They don't have winning lanes. They don't have really a lot of engaged pressure. It's just about kiting back, allowing the AD carry to succeed. And who flashed that fight now in game 2 are showing us they can beat it. That is huge if you want Stingus, Donut, and Baka to have confidence going on throughout this series, because they are now showing that even when Lotus are playing their best style, they can be the better team.
And quick Kindred check right now at 7 marks for Baka. And I keep checking this because late game, it's not about Sting. It's going to be the big AD carry for the team. Baka is going to be the big AD carry for the team. And he skills as well. So it's not a terrible situation for who flashed and fight. They do have late game insurance. Kraken Slayer into Runans for Kalista, a bit questionable, but I'll leave that to you, Necrox. I do want to highlight that for Lotus, though, they look like they're in a bad spot. The only big problem for them is that they've let so many dragons go. If not for the fact that an Ocean Soul is being threatened right now, Lotus are okay giving up a 4k goal lead as long as they can hold this ring of inner turrets. And so far, it's not been defending the turrets that's the issue. It's every time they walk outside the turrets that they kind of seem to be getting caught a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to leave that Kraken Slayer Runans to me, because Stingus already doesn't have a high opinion of me, and I'm not sure he would after I comment on his build.
I'll take the bullet on that. I mean, generally, we see Immortal Shield Bow for survivability. The Kraken Slayer gives you slightly better scaling, but realistically, for the Kalista, survivability is the name of the game. And it really does feel like they're putting everything in the back of basket right now. If the Lamb's Respite keeps you alive, great. But Stingus right now doesn't have a lot of self-agency. He's relying very heavily on the rest of the team. But hey, for who flash and fight, I mean, that might not be the worst decision. They have looked very coordinated for the most part.
I mean, regardless of agency, they have definitely looked coordinated, right? The coordination is what's going on right now. I mean, look at how deep they are in this jungle. They know what the prize is. 1 minute, 19 seconds now ticking down to that Ocean Soul. That is the only thing on their mind, and they know they can fight right now. These 2 item spikes are still big for them, and a lot of them have not come through for the likes of Lotus. We have 2 on Jinx, still waiting for the second one on Vigar. Yeah, he's got a stopwatch, but he doesn't have the damage. We have 2 on the jungle, no 2 in the top side. This is advantage across the board for the important members of who flashed that fight. Your Kindred, your Kalista, your Katarina.
Yeah, really big breakpoints here from who flashed that fight. This is probably going to be a game-deciding fight. I'm not sure that Lotus can stare down the barrel of a gold deficit this margin, plus an Ocean Soul, and still have a hope of getting back into this one.
You know what, Necrox? I have faith. They do have to fight this. It is a little bit risky. Their vision is lacking, and I think that concerns me a little bit more. But I do think that we've seen Donut Maker jump the gun a little bit.
Watch Dusk. Watch Dusk. Watch Dusk. Look at where Dusk is.
He's on a nice flank. Waffle Wheel spotted him. The traps are going to stop that engage effort. Now they're chasing him down. The cage will not stun him up, but Yoshi's still here in the front line. Trapped up is the support. The Fate's Call going to pull Dokdo right back in, but a cooldown being burned this close to the Dragon Time means that he has no safety from Stingus' ulti.
The flank idea was good, but the execution is horrifically flawed now, and they're split, and you can see Dust to Dawn, he doesn't get a way in. All that Lotus needs to do is just pull the trigger on one person. They're all split. They need to be grouped for Bacchus out to work.
Okay, this is really close. Our margins here for Dust to Dawn again using that ulti just to disengage this time. Another cooldown being burned by Who Flashed That Fight after getting a little bit overzealous on a flank effort. Solar Flare's not going to find it. Stunned up is Dokdo with a beautiful Event Horizon. Kiwi in the front line. Haymaker takes him down to about 3/4, but Kiwi's going to die. There's another Event Horizon from JVL times the CC, but they cannot kill Dota. They got him. He tries to reset. He tries to spin, but they can't get it. Now Waffle's running away, but the land respit's beautiful, but Waffle's still alive. The guy won't die, and it's an ace for Lotus as they clean up the fight around Soul.
Oh, it all falls apart for Who Flashed That Fight. I hate to say it, but it's exactly as RMC prescribed. They were not together. They just engage onto Dust to Dawn. He blows the Cyclone. You don't even have to be afraid of him anymore. What's he going to do to you from the flank? He doesn't have an ultimate. They just wait around, and while this fight looks good at the outset for Who Flashed That Fight, watch Waffle the entire fight here. He barely gets touched, and he cleans them all off the rip.
And more importantly here, the way Who Flashed That Fight wants to work is they kind of need to get burst down together, and they don't. First of all, Dokdo gets a little bit caught out, and that's fine. You're the tank, you're good, but look at the zoning as well. You can see that all Who Flashed That Fight can't go in, and then watch who does actually go in here. Donut Maker is about to hop in and has Tizonia's very, very early on. Doesn't get the damage out, and then after that, it's just clean up, and Waffle Wheel just untouched here. You gotta keep in mind, who's the threat in these big fights? It's not the Vigar. He's one and done. The burst is gone. He's dead. Waffle Wheel, however, will still be there, pumping out that damage the entire way.
And huge props to Lotus for the focus they had in that team fight. The moment Donut Maker hit that stopwatch, you know they were all screaming, Kata, Kata, Kata. The moment she jumps in, everyone focuses their DPS and CC on that champion. No ability for Donut to spin. There's no ability to lay down that huge amount of damage. And Lotus grabbed the fight for it, but now he's spinning onto Yoshi, who has to flash out from the potential engage, but Accelerate still here. Maybe looking for a flank of his own, but here comes the Faith Call plus Teleport. This is a little bit awkward as Dust to Dawn's gonna have to retreat. Solar Flare from Dokdo. He wants to water the grass with his own ultimate and consider it grown. As the sun is used, maybe in the river for fun.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to lose there's no counter-engage potential, right? You can't even threaten to turn off a turret now, so these are freebies for Lotus. They're going to burst this open. Don't make her on a trap. You're going?
Okay, they have no cooldowns, but they want the fight all the same. Kiwi under the back line. He's taken down to about half, and he's going to die. Stingus rips him with the spears. Huge ulti from Yoshi, but everyone's in the respite. Can Waffle clean it up? Waffle needs to get this, but Waffle's shut down by Dust to Dawn, and it's Lotus who die in the fight. 2 for 1, but it doesn't matter. The Who Flashed That Fight health bars are too low. They cannot stay and defend.
I mean, they're going to lose a turret, but how are they all alive? I'm like, what?
Lamb's respite, it's literally all on Bacca's shoulders. If Bacca gets a good out off, they all live. And this is that nasty part about that Moonfall Lamb's respite interaction. The damage will come through, but it's not enough to kill. And you can tell that during that, 2 seconds, 4 seconds of Lamb's respite there, the call is kill Waffle ASAP. So Lamb's respite comes out, Moonfall damage, great and good. Then watch Waffle Wheel. You stepped up a little bit too late. Everybody turns around on you and bursts you down immediately. And we already said, Waffle's a threat. Waffle's dead. Fight's over. Who Flashed That Fight wins it.
Rare error here from the Lotus AD carry. You don't see it all too often, but those kind of mistakes can lose you games. Without any summoners, without any real hard peel other than the Maokai and set to take one member out of it. It's really rough stuff from Waffle Wheel. He's gonna need to step up in this next team fight. He is the main source of damage, as you already talked about, RMC, but who flashed that fight with a multi-threat composition. Has to assess every different angle, has to assess every flank opportunity from Dusk, from Donut. We'll see what he can do as Kiwi Hex flashes over the wall, maybe looking onto the likes of Dokdo. Won't be able to find it as they retreat. Dragon up in 60 seconds.
That Dragon's up. Everything will mostly be... Oh, okay, hold on. We got an engage flashing away.
Okay, Stingus has to flash. Nice Everfrost. It's going to find Dusted Dawn. Dunk back, but Kiwi's gone a little bit too far. Nice stopwatch from Stingus to avoid the Haymaker damage. Accelerate now, tossed up into the air. Nice Event Horizon to lock up 2 members, plus the Thorns on top. Going to keep them locked up for even longer. Rocket will not finish the kill, but Accelerate now has to run. Another cage going to be thrown down. Dokdo's kill number 1 now. Waffle Wheel's excited for the death. Lotus does not find the mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who flashed that fight on the floor? And it's Lotus tracking him down and grabbing the kills. Dusted Dawn has to run away. He's winning the 1v1, but it does not matter. Yoshi may fall. He will not. It is Lotus on the victory march to claim game 2.
Clean ace, and it felt like every single way Lotus won that, starting with the fact that Accelerate just would not die. I was watching him tank everything there, and Dusted Dawn, Baka, Donut Makers, things, they all took their shot, and literally Accelerate just tanked everything, buying so much time. Lotus was struggling to get in the fight, but it was fine. They had the margin of error. Waffle Wheel gets a step up. Auto, okay, didn't quite get in position, step back a little bit. Accelerate's fine, will tank all of it, and then PP, can they steal it? Okay.
Not going to be able to steal it. Lots of damage coming out from Donut, hopping around with a Shunpo. And he grabs the kill into Yoshi, but not getting the dragon. Means Soul is delayed once again. The victory march turns into just an inhibitor taken from Lotus, since they were not willing to commit to the full end. They will not be able to end this one just quite yet. But now they are the ones in control of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, they certainly are, Necrox, in full control. And again, it's feeling like a little bit of deja vu, right? We had 3 Drakes for who flashed that fight in the last game. Now we've got 2 for Lotus, and they're scaling up. They're getting stronger. Items are blocked for me on the screen at the moment. I think there's a little bit of a visual bug with the solar flare, but we can see 3 now. In for Waffle, 3 in for JVL. It's getting to scary territory once again. The options, of course, remain for who flashed that fight. You get a good Kindred ult, you execute well, you can win, but it's just getting easier for Lotus as time ticks away.
Yeah, they just have so much leeway here, and even if who flashed that fight win their next fight, unless it's a clean 5-0 here, I'm still not sure they can end the game. But Lotus, on the other hand, they certainly can. Mid lane inhibitor is down, has completely been wiped out here. So if they get this next fight, which I'm assuming is going to happen around Baron, because that spawned in 5 seconds here, if they get Baron, they definitely can just push the end.
All right, Baron is the name of the game here for Lotus, as who flashed that fight, still looking to find some sort of an angle into this river, but it is not easy at all. With Lotus here first, we talked about how well their composition kites back, how well they play full-on 5v5s. Accelerate is going to be the first one to take some damage, take him down to about 3/4, now about half. But he will walk away no problem. But a chunk onto the front line means it's who flashed that fight, who now control vision in this topside river.
Yeah, it does get them control. It is a Maokai, so he should heal up pretty easily with a couple Qs. Okay, exhaust down, cleanse down.
That's big stuff there. Grabbing the cleanse off of Stingus. If you make one small misstep in these fights, Stingus is going down. But Donut Maker over the wall. Man, this is on a knife's edge, gentlemen. Either team could pull the trigger and start this fight in half a second.
And right now, who flashed that fight have all the control of that area, all the vision as well. Blue trinket just got cleared, so it's completely dark for Lotus, and this is not how they want to walk into this. If Dusted Dawn finds a good flank into the back, if Donut Maker can hop over to Waffle Wheel, you're in trouble right away. And I'm just tracking where JVL and Waffle Wheel are in relation to their front line. Accelerate got completely chunked out before because Waffle Wheel wasn't near enough to back them up, and if they zone out in weird positions again, that could happen, as a lot of backs coming through.
Yoshi's got caught out, though. He was on a pink ward, and he has to flash over the wall. Stingus has the Fates call, and now they're going for Accelerate. The Shield of Daybreak, the Zenith Blade, the Ren, the Spears are going in, and Stingus is grabbing the kill. Waffle's flashing forward, but Waffle's shut down, and he's gone too far. It is Lotus who lose 2 members, and it is Stingus, who starts things off with a beautiful Fates call and drops 2.
I mean, Stingus is so aggressive. They catch him on the pink ward, right? We talked about the control. It looked like a bit of a your time, my time kind of thing, right? We clear the wards, we go back to base, but Lotus was caught off time. They didn't get back to base. They get caught out. Waffle tries to save the play, but he goes way too far in against multiple stopwatches. This is barren for who flashed that fight.
I mean, I don't think flashing in as a Jinx is ever really the right call. I understand what it looked like, that everybody was bunched up, but there's just so much damage, and one of them was Docto. If there is a point-and-click CC, as an AD carry, you are never allowed to just flash into that here. Baron is picked up by who flashed that fight. Like I said, I don't think they can push the end on this particular fight, not to mention they didn't even get an ace, but they're still threatening Soul. And Ocean Soul is a very potent tool. It's coming up in 1 minute. The healing that it will provide, combined with that invincibility, that extra time from Lamb's Respite here, will add up a lot in these fights.
I'm shocked. I'm thoroughly shocked at what I've just seen from Waffle Wheel do. That was reckless, careless, and not what you need in the later stages of this game, especially in the grand finals. That has given and gifted who flashed that fight an opportunity to set up once again around Ocean Soul, which now spawns in 30 seconds. And again, RMC and DJ, it is Lotus operating in darkness. They have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, and might be an omen here if you look at Sting's kill score. 666, baby, coming up all odds. Who's the omen for? That's the question, because Lotus, they have gotten access to the river, and this looks like it might just be a full-on 5v5.
Once again, who flashed that fight do have the inside track. Dustodon looking for a flank around, and there's no vision here, only a sapling.
He's going.
Okay, here we go. Dustodon starting things off with a flash cyclone. Lots of damage pouring through. They're going to find a kill on Yoshi. He's the first one to drop. Waffle Wheel in the back line. Going to trade his life away for Baka. JVL throwing down the primordial burst. Not able to finish off the member as Donut survives. Docto survives. Stingus survives. But it's only JVL and Accelerate to try to fend off Soul, but they cannot do it.
And this time around, the flank is well set up and well executed from who flashed that fight. They get full control of the vision. They find the right angle, and Dusk has no hesitation. You'll see him here completely out. They do not know he's here. They have no clue until he walks out of this bush and flashes on him. Here he comes. There he is. There's the flash. It's gorgeous. And by this time, it's already too late for Lotus.
And look at Waffle Wheel's positioning. Waffle Wheel is in the right position, but back is at the point now where you can 1v1 this Jinx. 9 marks here on this Kindred is definitely a threat. And we talked about the fact that it's not about the Kalista late game. It's about the Kindred. And quick stack check as well for Vygar, for JVL. He's on 282 stacks. So right now sitting on 641 AP right now. He certainly hurts a lot. And even in that fight, we saw that when Waffle Wheel went down, JVL was still able to continue pumping out some of the damage here. I don't expect to see the same outcome to the fight if Lotus just get their vision down before they walk into Fog of War.
And this is what you're talking about. Waffle has no real easy peel. He's left alone with a Gale Force Collector Kindred. You do not win those 1v1s. He gets himself collected. He cannot win the fight. And because of that, Lotus are without a main DPS source. Yoshi was dropped immediately in that fight. And now it is all priority. They're looking for a pick on the Docto, but the teleport on the flight may spell some trouble. Dustodon arriving. There you go. There's a Cyclone, but they found Stingus in the middle of everyone. JVL grabbing himself a solo kill in the enemy AD carry, and Dustodon's on the run. It is Lotus on the chase. Yoshi going forward. Yoshi grabbing the kill. And Lotus are still trying to chase down these members. Flash forward from Kiwi, but a nice Gale Force away from Baka. But they are not done yet. They want more. Donut has to run. Shunpo back to Docto, but they're now sieging down mid lane.
Can they win here?
They could. Like I said, if Lotus wins one,
wait, where's Donutmaker going? Donutmaker just
trying to cut the wave
down mid lane.
Oh, he's
for
cutting
a
the
flank.
wave. He's cutting the wave. They don't have much of a wave to end with, but Baka's gonna have to clear it out now. Nexus turret number 1 already under fire. Nexus turret 1 down, and it's Kiwi versus Baka in the Lamb's Respite. He doesn't win it, but the Nexus is open, and Lotus will take game 2 from under their noses. 1 game away from their first ever title.
Again. We're left with a bit of a question mark as the game ends. Last time it was Dustodon attempting the base race. This time it's Donutmaker trying to cut the wave. Cutting the wave only works when they don't have minions and they don't have a fed Set or Malco. I think Accelerate was dead at the end there. But Set can tank it. You've got the damage. Your Waffle Wheel had 4 items completed, including the Infinity Edge, including the Lord Dominic's Regards. He's going to cut down those turrets. No problem here. And it just feels like Who Flashed the Fight, again, they fail the time test. This is a time attack. You need to end the game before Waffle Wheel comes online. It's even worse with Vygar, the double stacking. And you could see, we talked about the stacks right before that last fight, and JVL just evaporated Stingus.
Yeah, but this time they got the Ocean Soul, right? It took a little bit long, but the buff was there. There still just seemed to be some split calls. I mean, that TP around the wall in the jungle, you can't group up. We talked about the ultimate, how critical it was, why the first flank failed. You're not grouped up enough to take advantage of your ultis, your circular ultis, and that healing and invincibility comes through from the ulti Ocean Drake combination. So I think this was probably good enough from Who Flashed that Fight. If you want to talk about a time test, you got the big buff, you had the Baron. It just falls apart for them again at the end.
Yeah, it's just, I hate to say it, but it's one error. It's a lot of small individual errors that add up, but it's one big macro call at the end that seems to fall short. They just can't find the mark to defend their base at the critical moment. And Lotus knew it. They knew they had enough numbers. They knew they had enough of a minion wave to end that one out. And now Who Flashed that Fight is one game away from being kicked out of finals. And that the storyline of 2-0 does not represent what we've had on the Rift. These games have been close. They have been nail biters back and forth with Who Flashed that Fight taking early and mid game leads every single time. But this late game scaling and this late game hyper carry in Waffle Wheel, supported by an incredible performance from JVL, I'm nervous. I don't know if it holds up every game, but somehow Lotus have crossed the world's ricketiest bridge in 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I don't know if my heart can take it either. So just whether or not Lotus can keep doing this. All right. I'm a boomer minion, man. I can only take so much. And right now, it just keeps, it's just so close, man.
Yeah, I mean, we want more. There's only one way to get more. We got to get through an analyst test. We got to get through draft, and we're going to send it right there. We're going to bring you the action just a few more moments. Finnick and Boost is success. We'll join you now on the analyst test as they can tell you exactly how Lotus is one game away from their first ever crown.